Don't forget that you can download? Don't forget that you can... Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, The Cellcast, our Twitch channel, The Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob. And at our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for. And you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. This podcast is part of the Culture Box Media Network. For more great content like this, please check out the link in the description. There you can find other great shows, such as The Untold Podcast, which is a speculative fiction podcast utilizing the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, among others, in order to engage the culture's imagination from a Christian worldview. Every month, Nathan James Norman produces and narrates a new story presented in a unique and dynamic way. You can check out their podcast at untoldpodcast.com. Also, we are a part of Pop Americana, where you can enjoy other shows like Franchise Fatigue. Do you like movies? Of course you do. I bet you even like big movie franchises like Star Wars, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Indiana Jones. And obviously, since you listen to us, you must like listening to movie reviews. But what if I were to tell you there is a podcast that reviews film series one movie at a time? You'd like that? Well, then go check out the Franchise Fatigue podcast over on your favorite podcast catcher, and listen to James and Gabe give an in-depth analysis and review on every movie in your favorite franchise. Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission: to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again. Welcome to another episode of The Cellcast
Shorts.
Joining me today is Jacob Heron in the 21st and a quarter century.
Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who just had to use his incinerator pistol. Welcome, Drew.
And brother, when it disintegrates, it disintegrates. It disintegrated. So, how are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm doing good. Doing very good with how the world's going on right now with coronavirus, COVID-19. Just like to bring a little joy and a little laughter to people's current situation.
Yes.
How about you?
I'm doing good. Thankfully, I'm an essential employee, so I do get to do some work. Of course, you are too.
Amen to that.
So we are getting paychecks, thankfully.
Yeah.
We are praying for those who don't, that this passes quickly and we can all get back to our daily lives.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, however, we are reviewing a number of Looney Tunes shorts, just in case we can't actually review full movies during this time, in case quarantine happens and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
With any luck, you are hearing this long after the fact when we needed to run a short in a spot just because one of us was out or we needed a week off or something, and it has absolutely nothing to do with coronavirus. But that's what we're in the middle of doing. And tonight, this episode is a review of Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
Because you have to say it like that.
Yes, you have to say it like that. For those of you who don't know what this is, Duck Dodgers is, of course, a parody of Buck Rogers. It stars Daffy Duck and Porky Pig trying to find Planet X. And when they get to Planet X, surprise, Marvin the Martian is right behind them and tries to steal the planet from them.
Yeah, claim the planet for Mars.
Exactly. So
and hygiene consumed.
And indubitably. So we'll go ahead and move into the spoiler-filled section now. So we'll see you there. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the Looney Tunes short, Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. Listener discretion is advised. I can't say it in a different way.
No,
than
you
that.
can't. You can't. So let's get into the spoilerific section of our podcast.
Yes. This is just a goofy, fun one, unlike many of the others we recorded for this.
Yes.
Like I said, it is just Daffy Duck being a 50s sci-fi star.
Yeah.
In his essence, trying to find Planet X with his eager young space cadet, Porky Pig.
Yeah.
Who's actually smarter than Duck Dodgers is.
Oh, of course, because he's Porky Pig.
And then, of course, we got Marvin the Martian being the villain because it's taking place in space. Of course, this ends not well for either group.
No,
but we don't care. Technically, Duck Dodgers does win, but it is a very Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah, but very slim margin of land.
That barely big enough to stand on.
Yeah.
This is just a fun episode.
It is.
There's not really much to talk about here other than you've got a couple of good gags with the disintegrating pistols.
All over the place.
The ultimatum senders and answerers.
And Daffy Duck getting shot a lot.
A lot. I'm surprised they didn't do a joke with the evaporators at the beginning. Because that just seems like a weird thing to do and then not make a joke out of it. I mean, when you do the whole joke with the rocket being in reverse.
Yeah, that was funny.
You would think they would have had something before that. And of course, Daffy comes up with this amazingly complex way of finding Planet X, and Porky just says, why don't we just follow all these other planets that are labeled A, B, C, D? If we follow them, we'll surely find X eventually. It's a goofy one. It's a fun one. It's a good one to laugh at.
Yes, it is.
It's not really. Unfortunately, admittedly, my classic sci-fi knowledge, i.e., anything before Star Trek, is a little lacking.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a lot of stuff here I'm not catching.
Oh yeah,
that are parodies of classic science fiction.
Oh yeah, there's
especially pulpy stuff like this.
Yeah, Buck Rogers
specifically.
Yes,
the original Flash Gordon, things of that nature. But it's kind of fun just with how silly it is.
Agreed.
Especially looking at all this classic sci-fi style architecture that's very 40s and 50s esque. It's just a fun one. Agreed. What do you think?
I enjoy it.
Talking a lot.
No, the animation wise is done very well. You know, it's directed by our
Chuck Jones.
Chuck Jones.
We did forget that point.
Yeah,
this is a Chuck Jones Mel Blanc joint.
Yeah. And so we get the Chuck Jones style of animation, and just it's a great slapstick little goofy sci-fi adventure with Porky Pig and Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
Where Daffy really has no clue what he's doing. So
what's new?
Yeah, what's new? It's just fun. It's fun. It's silly. It's a bunch of sight gags beyond belief. Oh, I'm going to shoot you with this. I'm going to be like it's just hilarious, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of meat. You could probably, like you said, go frame by frame by frame and just dissect everything and what they meant and what this meant. But we're not here for that. We're here for a short.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. And I would highly recommend, if you have a chance, go and look these up. These are really amazing quality animations. Even for today, this was made back in the 50s and it's 2020.
Yeah.
These are incredibly well done, incredibly animated, and you don't get voice actors like this caliber like Mel Blanc was. There are certain voice actors out there that are incredible that you've probably heard us talk about on our normal episodes. But Mel Blanc was a caliber among men when it came to and for voice acting. Like, how many characters did he do in Looney Tunes? It was like
I remember when I looked it up, he had like 1,000 acting credits, but that's going to include every single time he had something.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just say that like he
voiced a lot of characters.
Yeah, he voiced primarily for the beginning of Looney Tunes, like every single character.
Not every single character.
Most characters.
He took over like for a lot of characters.
That's right. Yeah.
From what I'm seeing on Looney Tunes, he voiced 120 different characters.
Wow.
His most famous ones were, of course, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Pepe Le Pew, Wile E. Coyote, the one time he was voiced, Tweety, Yosemite Sam, and the Coyote. Or I said Coyote.
You said Coyote.
He voiced other coyotes that are essentially the same coyote, but they are named different.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy was so multifaceted, talented, like it's uncanny.
Well, I mean, there's so many of the Looney Tunes cartoons where he's the only voice actor credited because he's voicing every character on screen a lot of times. But yeah. I'm going to give this one an 8 just because this was a fun one. And it's not as high caliber as some of the other ones we've seen. It's just a fun one. It's a goofy one. It's fun. That's really not all I can say about it.
I gotcha. Yeah, I will parody you with that and definitely give it an 8. And it is there again, animation wise, is very well done. It's not as well done as others, but it's still just a classic slapstick, funny gags galore. Some of the reference we're not going to get because we're not from the 50s,
right? And our knowledge of 50s sci-fi is lacking.
Yeah, a little bit.
We'll admit.
It was just fun. It was a lot of fun. It was humorous. It was, oh my gosh, what in the world's going on? But it was a lot of fun.
I will say this.
Definitely
it is very campy in the way that, that era, science fiction from that sci-fi at that era was.
Yes.
And I appreciate that attention to detail there. So that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. Join us on the next one whether it's a Looney Tunes or it's an actual full hour and a half long episode. We'll see you then.
All right. Later, guys.
Come, Jacob. We must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast.
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. Also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at GGeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast.
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify,
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live-action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.